What's up, guys? This is your go-to podcast for the drag boat racing community. My name's Jake Yeager, and this is the Drag Boat Racing Podcast. What's going on, drag boat race fans? Welcome to the first ever podcast dedicated to the drag boat racing community. My name's Jake Yeager. I'm a drag boat racer from Southern California. I grew up in Covina, California. I currently race Quick Eliminator and Unblown Fuel Jet with the National Jet Boat Association, and I'm also a board member of the National Jet Boat Association. Just a little background on me, guys. I got my start in 2013 at the Lucas Oil Drag Boat Racing Series World Finals in Chandler, Arizona. Yeah, that was our first boat race. We went a couple rounds. It was a great time. Met a ton of people, learned a lot about drag boat racing that weekend. Spent a year in Stock Eliminator, won a world championship in stock with Lucas Oil and Arizona Drag Boat Association. Ran a year in mod, and then about 2.5 years in Top Eliminator, won some races, and then now we're at where we're at now in Quick Eliminator and Unblown Fuel Jet. Today's podcast isn't going to be a long one. It's just going to be an overview of what we're going to do in this podcast and some future things. I want to start off with the associations that we're going to be covering in the Drag Boat Racing podcast, starting off with the Columbia Drag Boat Association, CDBA, National Jet Boat Association, NJBA, Arizona Drag Boat Association, ADBA, the Southern Drag Boat Association, SDBA, Kentucky Drag Boat Association, KDBA, and the Outlaw Drag Boat Association, ODBA. So the reason why I'm going to be covering these associations in this podcast is because I believe that all 6 of these organizations are putting on stellar drag boat racing events and are pushing the sport forward for all of our sportsmen and our pros to another level. All of these associations put on multiple events a year, and I feel like these 6 are the most stellar associations in the country. Not that there will not be other associations talked about on this podcast, but these are the 6 right now that I feel that are doing the best job. Moving right along to Racers Emergency Support Program, you're going to be hearing me talk a lot about RESP on this podcast. It's $40 a year. Go to racersesp.org for more information on that. We definitely will be answering some questions about tech, safety, and rule books on this podcast, hopefully with some heads of tech like Joe Shelfo from the NJBA or Fred Hart from the ADBA. I know Mike Isham will definitely be on this podcast answering some questions. He does a lot of the associations as well. We definitely will be going over some class records. The pro classes will be covering top fuel hydro, top alcohol hydro, top alcohol flat bottom, and then top fuel jet and blown fuel jet. Some of the associations that have sportsman categories will be covering like unblown fuel jet, blown gas jet, pro gas jet, pro gas flat, blown gas flat, pro comp flat, blown gas hydro, pro comp hydro, and pro gas hydro. We'll be talking about new drag boat builds on this podcast, hopefully some flats, hydros, and jets, and maybe even some outboards. We'll be talking about other events that are related to drag boat racing, like Billy B's events, the SoCal Jet Boats Tour, stuff that's going on, at Camp Far West and down on the Colorado River with like the Yuma Power Tour and the Endless Summer Performance Regatta, the Performance Regatta, and then all the other things that go on the Colorado River that kind of revolve around drag boat racing. There are other events that are going on in other states that revolve around drag boat racing. I just don't know enough about them, but if some of you would like to reach out to me and we can talk about them on this podcast, I'm definitely down for that. And then lastly, we'll be doing interviews with some drivers ranging from professional sportsmen, some industry pros, association board members, tech people, association presidents, and of course legends. I got my wish list of professionals that I would like to hear from, like Tyler Spear, Shelby Albert, Rob Birkland, Bob Pizza, Tony Scarlotta, Daryl Ehrlich, to name a few. Some people in the jet boat world that I would really like to listen to, like Shell Adams, Tyler Goodrum, Tim Ortiz, Steve Pentberry, Donnie LeBon, Glenn Bonds. Those guys have been putting down killer numbers. The flat bottom category, like G.W. Goff, Kelly Reed, Shane Westerfield, Steve Boyce, Sean Giroux. And then, I'm not very versed in the hydro world, but some of the drivers that I would like to hear from, Gary Davis, Matt Cruz, Jim the Hound Dog Howard, and maybe even Jane Bradley. So that about sums up what we're going to be covering on the podcast, but I would like to hear from you, the listeners, to kind of figure out what you guys would like to hear about. So if you can or want to, drop us a line on Facebook or Instagram or on YouTube. Our tag is The Dragboat Racing Podcast. Just a huge shout out to everybody that is listening to the first go around for the podcast. I just want to thank you for your time and your ear. My name is Jake Yeager, and this is the Dragboat Racing Podcast. Points I'm chasing.